So at 12 o'clock today, Joe Biden will officially be the president of the United States. This is, as I'm talking to you now, it's the last, hour of Trump's presidency. By the time you watch this, Biden will already be president. So there's a lot going on in terms of Trump's final actions in office and Biden's first actions in office. We're going to try to cover as much of it as humanly possible so you get a sense of substantively what's going on, not just the theatrics and the show angle of what's happening, the pageantry of it. That's the word I was looking for. So here's one of the things we just learned today that Trump did on his way out the door. Axios says, just in, President Trump has revoked an executive order barring former officials from lobbying for 5 years after leaving his administration. This is too perfect an ending to the Trump era. It's too perfect. Because he came in talking a good game about being anti-establishment and taking on the elites and wanting to drain the swamp. And then as soon as he got power, he wasn't taking concrete policy action to drain the swamp. And anytime he did nominally do that, it was window dressing. And so here we have a situation where you take one of the things that his supporters would point to and say, well, that's positive, right? And on his way out the door, he says, no, I'm against that. So this is Donald Trump bathing in the swamp, chugging the swamp water. That's what this is. This is as swampy an act as it gets. This is a pro-lobbyist, pro-corruption move. You know who's celebrating at this news? Every special interest group you can imagine. Wall Street, the military-industrial complex, big pharma, for-profit health insurance companies. That's who loves this. The swamp loves this. So it's just too perfect an encapsulation of the Trump era. He came in as a fake populist and a fake outsider. He leaves as a fake populist and a fake outsider. Remember, one of his main things was trade on the campaign trail, and he would talk about NAFTA and permanent normal trade relations with China, and the establishment failed you, and they shipped all your jobs overseas. Well, go look at his record on outsourcing. There was net hundreds of thousands of jobs outsourced under Trump. This is the guy who ran on, one of his core promises was, I'm going to stop outsourcing. That didn't happen. In fact, in his tax bill in 2017 that they passed, it incentivized outsourcing. The 2017 Republican tax cut bill. It cut taxes for corporations and the wealthy, and it was permanent. Any tax break, any tax relief for regular people was temporary, but it incentivized outsourcing. And here we are. Even the lobbyist bans. Me, I'm against money in politics because I want to drain the swamp. Oh, did I say that? On the way out the door, I'm going to say I'm pro money in politics. It was all a scam all along. It's all a scam. He had no real ideology. He's very vapid. He's a very empty man. He wants the narcissism and the self-aggrandizement of being president. And what happened was he surrounded himself with swamp creatures. He surrounded himself. I mean, go count the number of Goldman Sachs people who were in his administration. It's really something else. There was a lot of Goldman Sachs people in his administration. Bannon was part of Goldman Sachs at one point. Gary Cohn was part of Goldman Sachs. Steve Mnuchin. There were a lot of people from Goldman Sachs in his administration. So in other words, he slammed Hillary on the campaign trail for having close ties to Wall Street and Goldman Sachs. And then as soon as he took power, he brought in a bunch of Goldman Sachs people. Well, lo and behold, he's governing like a Goldman Sachs elitist. This just means he thinks money in politics is a good thing, and I like it. That's what that means. So, business as usual, status quo, corrupt politician. That's what he is. And, I guess what I want to say here, and I'm not trying to do this in a rude way. I'm not trying to be condescending or look down on people who did whatever it is they did and supported President Trump, now former President Trump. But if this doesn't burst the bubble for you, I don't know what will. Because it's clear as day. I mean, he may as well have tattooed on his forehead, I'm a fake populist, I'm a fake outsider. I love the swamp. I didn't drain the swamp. That's a long thing to tattoo on your head. That would have been like a paragraph tattooed on your head. But you get the point. So listen, got to come back to reality, man. Got to come back to reality and realize exactly what went on here. Everybody's been had. They've been took. They've been bamboozled. That's what this is. He's a con man. And so this should be a slap in the face to wake you up to the reality of Trumpism. Trumpism was based on a veneer, a facade of outsider, anti-elitism, anti-establishment politics. That was all the game. But really what it was the status quo on the inside when it comes to economics. It's the status quo. So what's left? All that's left when you get rid of that is what? Culture, war, grievance. That's it. And so there are plenty of people who've, have clung, is that the word? Clung? They cling to Trump. That sounds so weird. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a word or not. They love Trump, and that's the main reason. Is just because he's a voice. He hates the same people that they hate. And so people think, my enemy is my friend. He must be looking out for me. He's not. And all the evidence shows that. All the data shows that. All of his actions show that. And this is just the final example. Let this be the nail in the coffin for Trumpism. A movement that never really was.